It's my friend Kurt. I'm AC. Let's talk youth ministry.
Dude, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Dude, quick question.
Great, yes.
What's your favorite music?
My favorite music?
Yeah. You know, here's why I ask. Because right as you were finally setting up the camera, I got my daughter Kayla tweeted about she likes to crank up country music when nobody's home, but she got caught. but she got caught today. Somebody walked in while she had country music cranking, like my wife and my son. And I was thinking, well, I love country music. Yeah. But I don't know what I know you do rap for HSM, but I don't know what your favorite genre of music is.
It's definitely not country. It's definitely not country.
Okay.
I don't know.
Darius
I like
Rucker.
it all.
Darius Rucker.
He's a Christian artist right now, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think
he
turned. Yeah.
Really?
I think he's still in the country.
I know he's a wagon wheel kind of guy. What's your favorite?
I don't know. I listen to it all.
Okay, but if you had to pick one on a desert island for the rest of your life, favorite genre?
Probably be like hip hop, but not crazy hip hop.
Like R&B hip hop.
It's like there's a lot more like music and singing.
Yeah,
and
I like that. As in Rihanna style or something.
Like a Rihanna. Yeah.
Okay.
Not none of her crazy stuff.
No, but yeah. All right.
Listen to the words. People.
Listen to the words. I don't. I just listen to the beat. I just like the music. I don't pay attention to the lyrics.
Well, you will when you're driving with some high schoolers.
Yes, you will.
And a Drake song comes on, everybody's like bobbing your heads, and then the first lyric comes on.
And you realize what we're all singing along
I
to
know.
on a youth group, small group outing.
Right. Don't do it.
Okay, today's show, like we said, you can be a sponsor of the show. Simply Youth Ministry always is kind of a sponsor there. They post this on morethandodgeball.com every week for us. Today, the sponsor is a little tiny ministry that's just a brand new startup, youthworkerdiscounts.com.
Yes.
Youthworkerdiscounts.com. Actually, me and my buddy kind of started that thing. Go to youthworkerdiscounts.com. You buy a $20 membership, and that $20 gives you some perks. You get 30% off any purchase at Simply Youth Ministries website. You get a bunch of discounts on random stuff. But then the cool thing is that $10 of that $20 membership, you pay $20 a year, not $20 a month. Yeah. $20 a year. $10 of that goes straight into the pool to provide free resources for small youth groups. Because I want to help small youth groups, and I have never figured out how to do it. So this way, all of us together, we go to youthworkerdiscounts.com. You pay $20, you get all kinds of awesome stuff, and $10 goes straight into buying free stuff for small youth groups. And you can go there, and if you're interested, you can nominate a youth group to get the free stuff. There's a form there, like a little nomination form. Yeah. So there you go. There's kind of one of our sponsors today.
I met my friend at Simply, who's a youth pastor in Michigan. Yep. And I'm nominating them.
Nice.
I joined. Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
He's doing great ministry, but just like
has no budget.
Just like all of them, kind of struggles to get down to Simply Youth Ministry Conference, but loves it.
That's cool.
Brings volunteers and.
Well, the reality is this. People watching this podcast, mostly people that go to a Simply Youth Ministry conference or a Youth Specialties conference or the Orange Conference, they're kind of like the Youth Ministry 1%. Yeah. Right? I mean, they got budget, they have resources, they're sort of the 1%ers of youth ministry. Yep. And most people laboring in the trenches of youth ministry don't have much budget, they don't have much resource. And this is just one way. They're volunteering their time. So the rest of us, we go on someplace like Youth Worker Discounts, and it helps us share the wealth, redistribute the wealth, you might say.
Totally.
But I mean, we're.
I was in Philadelphia at a conference. Yeah. And they asked the question, "Who's paid?" And I can tell you, maybe 25 people stood up. Yeah. And then they said, "Who's here that's a volunteer or bivocational?" Yeah. And everybody else stood up. Like,
well, I'll tell you what, dude. If you listen to a lot of the prognosticators, the futurists, the prophetic voices, a lot of people are saying that more and more youth ministry will be done by volunteer and part-time people. Yeah. The people that get paid to do it full-time are actually, to some degree, a dying breed. Now, I don't know to what degree I agree with all that,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it was definitely like a take back of, wow.
Yeah.
You know it's true because,
Right.
you know, when you've come from it, you
Right.
know the heart. You just bleed youth ministry and you just
Right.
want to do it and see kids
No matter
win.
what.
But to see those people stand up, you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Like, this
that's
is
so cool.
These are people who are just doing ministry and killing it and loving it. And so
remember, if you
Help
want to
'em out.
sponsor a show, send us a $5 anything. Your youth group can sponsor our show. Your little side gig. We had one guy a while ago, back in the day. His wife does homemade jewelry. Her company sponsored a show. They sent us some free homemade jewelry. Mail that to the church address 1 Saddleback Parkway, Lake Forest, California 92630. Attention AC or Kurt, and you can be a sponsor of Let's Talk Youth Ministry. Okay,
let's do it.
Let's do it. We got some a mail bag today, right? We got
do.
an actual question.
We do.
From...
We have a question. Someone who didn't feel like they wanted to do a video. They feel a little self-conscious,
That's okay.
which is
That's
okay.
all right. Yeah, we'll
Sometimes
take video
you don't-
or audio.
Yeah.
Audio, written, whatever that is.
Written,
Okay,
yeah.
let's hear it.
But his question was John Batch, by the way.
John Batch, shout out. We know John Batch.
He had a question. What apps or tools do we use to help save time? So in the hustle and bustle of youth ministry, what's cutting some corners?
Well, my first response, I didn't know there was an app to save time. every app I have wastes time. I have, like Bubble Breaker or whatever, Candy Crush, and I have this little motocross app, this fantastic motocross app where I tilt my phone back and forth to make the motorcycle go up and down. I have that app. I have a Surf Report app, which actually does save time because instead of driving from spot to spot to look at the waves, I can just go on my app. Apps to save time.
Apps to waste time.
We got tons of those.
Oh, totally.
Is he talking about like youth ministry time or time management?
Time
apps?
management. He wants to know. I read it in a way of, how do I save time to be able to do, more.
Right.
So what's helping me save time? I mean,
so things like an Evernote or some of the, but everybody knows about that.
I don't have like apps that I.
So basically, you picked a question that we don't know the answer to.
Well,
it was our only question that we got.
It was really our only question through email that we got.
Okay, then let's change this topic.
Yeah.
Time-saving tricks for youth ministry. Like, what are some things you're doing that just help you save time?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's more like I'm horrible with the calendar.
Yeah.
So, when I learned that, I figured out that I need more calendars than one. So I need one on my phone that's giving me updates. It's giving me that 15-minute, but I also need visuals. So I have this big year at a glance on my wall.
Yeah.
And I mark it with everything that's on there, but I also can mark it with the stuff that's just coming up.
Yeah.
So if I get an email and says, hey, can you come speak at Cookies and Christ at one of the schools? I can say, oh, this day's free. And I don't necessarily have to always go through my
same.
Yeah. And so I can check it here, put it in my calendar for update later. But I need the visual on the wall. I need the physical visual, but I also need my alert update. Good. So that kind of helps me.
Which is actually, that's interesting you say that, because that's probably the opposite of me. Because as you were answering that, before you kind of got there, I was thinking, for me, I feel like there's so many apps, even though I can't name them. And the reason I can't name them is because I tend to be the kind of guy that says, man, pick one system of time management that works for you, that it just kind of fits the way you're wired, and just go with that system and be consistent with that method. So, like for me, I'm the kind of guy that would go, okay, as long as I have it like on my cell phone and on my wall, that's all I need. I don't need all these other things telling me what I got to be and where and who. Whereas you're saying maybe have lots of hooks, time management things, so you don't mess up. So, back in the day, people use the Stephen Covey stuff or day planners, and now there's mobile versions of all that. But to his question, I would say that time management in youth ministry, it feels like an oxymoron. Because we just kind of pride ourselves on not being organized, not being being spontaneous instead of organized, and we want to be flexible. I do think you need to figure out a time management. How do you structure your week on most weeks? When do you get up? When do you work on your lessons? When do you block out time for people and meetings? and work the system. Like find a system, because if you don't manage your time will manage you. Basically, right?
It'll run you right into the wall.
Yep. Somebody will plan your day for you.
Totally.
Somebody will take up your time, and so you want to decide: are you going to be in control of that, or are you going to let other people and other circumstances be in control of how you spend your time? Youth ministers are notorious for the latter. Yeah. I would advocate that we should be more in control and more strategic with our use of time. Totally. I don't know any specific apps.
I would say, another thing, and this doesn't necessarily...
I'm going to check while you're talking to see if I happen to have an app.
Okay.
That is for that I'm not using.
I don't think this necessarily relates to kind of like, well, yeah, it can relate to saving time. If you're connecting, however you're communicating with all of your students. So whether you're communicating through Facebook, or a lot of students are migrating to Instagram and Twitter, but being able to connect all of those, so you're only sending it out through one channel, and it's reaching all of the other social networks.
So looking for ways to leverage all the channels.
Yeah, so good. There's a bunch of, pretty much all you have to do is type in kind of like social media or some type of feeder through your phone or through your computer, and they have a bunch of them that helps you connect all of them, and you can just trim some time there.
Well, like any kind of blog reader app that consolidates the blog. So now I look at it, I've got all kinds of apps that save me time. Okay, I've got a calculator. So I don't have to write out. I don't have to write out my math problems. That saves me time. I have a maps thing, so I don't have to go get one of those big foldy maps that I used to have. Right. I have a Starbucks app, but I don't have to reach into my wallet to get my money. I can just swipe my phone. That's nice. I've got a clock app, so I don't have to use a sundial. So when I look more closely, John Batch, there's tons of apps that save me time. I've got, they're everywhere.
How about
they're everywhere. This? In fact, this thing is a time-saving device. Okay.
John, the question is, do you have an iPhone?
Do you have an iPhone, John?
That's the question. No. I think those are, we probably all use those at some time or another. But if you have some really great apps that help you save time, just leave it on a comment below, and John, check it.
Check it out. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We're wasting time talking about saving time.
Okay, this isn't necessarily a question as much as a conversation that I had I went to a YS training in Philly, and we kind of started talking about small groups and winding small groups up. It's the end. You have leaders, and you're trying to corral them and help them while they're looking at their groups that are dwindling, because students are kind of checking out at this time. And so I thought we'd talk a little bit about that and just give kind of like a few tips to those who are dealing with this right now.
Well, it's not just the students that are dwindling, or I think leaders at this time of year. Some leaders naturally finish strong, and they really leverage and love the last month. I'm the opposite, man. I've missed 2 weeks in a row of my small group. It's just after a whole year of doing it, you feel like, gosh, I'm tired, and I can afford to, they know I love them, and they know I've been faithful.
So you're still going with the checklist. Johnny, are you here? Okay.
Yeah. Can you guys put name tags on? Because but I think it's really natural for youth. It's natural for anything for it to kind of tail off. Instead of finishing really strong. So a couple things I have done in the past that help. And then you can add some of yours. One idea is, this is a great time. Now, some of the school districts more back in the Midwest, West, and East, they're getting ready to wrap up in a month, but it's a great time, the last month or two of small groups, to let your students lead the small group. So we've done things where we say, okay, I would love if every one of you would teach a lesson to the rest of the guys. So sign up. It's still going to be whatever lesson we're on in our curriculum or our study, but you're the man. You're the one taking it. You're teaching it, and I'll help you, but for the most part, and that kind of helps everybody get excited about the end. Another thing I I'm not doing it this year because my group's so big, my small group. But what I like to do is at the end of every school year is schedule a one-on-one time with each guy.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And say, hey, man, here's what I've seen over the last year.
Yeah.
This is how I kind of saw you coming in, and this is what I've seen God do in your life.
Yeah.
And it's really effective with 8th graders moving to high school or 12th graders moving into college to be able to kind of send them off to their next life stage with that. But just to have a one-on-one at the end of the school year going, dude, I can't wait to see what God continues to do, and thanks for this. And just esteem them and pour into them is another way to kind of be a little bit proactive and intentional on wrapping up the school year. For me, left on my own, if I don't input some specific things, like I'm going to have all the guys teach or I'm going to take them out one-on-one, I'll just tail off. Yeah.
No, totally. I think that's the feeling of most leaders. I've done something different this year where usually I'll say, okay, I need to get I'm going right in the beginning of group time, beginning of the year, and I'm trying to get all the good stuff that I have to give them and share with them and all the great lessons. And then at the end, I'm like, oh man, they really need to learn this. And I'm at the end trying to
cram it all
in at the end. And it didn't really work in the past. So my first group felt, sorry guys, but they kind of felt the blunt of that of, oh man, I really need to get these lessons. They need to know these principles.
Right.
And so this year I kind of mapped it out a little bit better. In the beginning, when the kids are gung-ho about coming and all like, rah, we want to be together, I do the less attractive lessons that they need to get. They need to know these things.
That's good.
And this year I saved all of the hot topic, kind of like, and they're freshman guys. So, but I saved all the hot topic, stuff that they really want to talk about and hear. I saved that for the end.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you that. Probably I get maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, 3 at the most would miss during the end, and that's their email. They're texting me, and
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna real quickly mention a blog, and they'll have to snoop around because he wrote this a couple weeks ago. But Adam McLain, AdamMcLain.com, great blog for youth ministry and leadership and stuff. But awesome. he's kind of a statistician. Yeah, he's kind of a research kind of nerd guy, and I mean that in the most.
No, totally.
In the most honoring way.
He does a great job.
He did a blog post a while ago where he talked basically about when you do what, like in a business, like when you push and when you release for marketing and all this. And his premise was most people back off during the dull times and hit the gas and you should do the opposite. And what I hear you saying is, I love it because it's natural to go, oh, everybody's excited to be at small group at the beginning of the year. So let's do our sex talk or our end times talk, right? Yeah. And then during the holidays and the end of the year when they're that's where we'll do the boring stuff. And you're flipping it and
I flipped it this year.
Yeah.
And I did all the
dull
kind of doctrinal
the stuff that they're not
super excited about. We did that in the beginning, and now we're covering temptation.
So now you're saying you don't want to miss small group.
So now they don't want to miss small group because we're doing that, but we're also there's a time to share, there's a time to ask questions and stuff. And so I did wait until the end. I did all the sexy stuff at the end.
That's good. We're gonna
just to keep the interest.
I'm gonna wrap it up there because we're almost at our 20-minute mark. Yeah. We've said a whole lot of nothing mostly. Until you hit on that. The idea of leaning in and hitting the gas in the down times. And in the up times when there's already built-in momentum is when you can take the foot off the gas a little bit because it'll carry itself. That to me is the big principle. It isn't just small groups. You can, it's like Adam's blog post. All over the place. You can use that principle. Is awesome. Guys, thanks for watching. Send us a question. A video question, a video, I can't believe I did this dumb youth ministry idiocy moment, oops moment, a little encouragement, a little video encouragement, and we've got a couple we should have played. We've got like a couple in the can. Or you can just simply write in a question or a topic you'd like us to cover. Let's talk youth ministry @gmail.com. Send us a gift or a promo item if you want to sponsor the show. and we'll see you next time.
See ya.